Geodata, the company that I'm working for. So Geodata company founded in 1988. We are 200 employees scattered across 3 locations. So that's main office in Oslo. I'm situated in Stavanger. And we are the distributor of ESTI software in Norway. And not only that, but we also have consultancy that we provide, products, and also some data services on top of that. ESTI, for those of you that might not know, they are the world-leading GIS system, founded in 1969 and located in California. And Jack Dangermount, which is the owner of the ESTI, he is very keen on sustainability. And 30% of all of ESTI's revenue going back into R&D, and a lot of that is focused on sustainability, energy transition, etc. So we're seeing more and more tools being able or coming available in the ESTI platform, available to us as users. One slide on the ArcGIS system. It comprises of several components based on your needs. So in the middle you have the enterprise system, which is a server-based system if you want to have complete control over your own ArcGIS system. And then we have ArcGIS Pro, which is the desktop environment if you want to massage, run certain analysis on top of your data, and create maps. And from there, you share that work to ArcGIS Online, which is a software as a service hosted by ESTI. And this is where you actually share all of your work to the rest of your colleagues or maybe even externally. So within this platform, either if you have an enterprise server installment or if you are running on a software as a service, you have the tools that are necessarily to work with all of these different use cases. So that being if you're out in the field, we have field maps for you. If you're running heavy spatial analysis, or maybe running some AI on top of the imagery that you are providing, the tools are there for you to do that as well. And of course, data management and being able to feed real-time IoT data into your ArcGIS system is also something that the ArcGIS system is capable of. So these are off-the-shelf products, but then we can also go a little bit more into the ArcGIS platform side. So within the platform side, we have APIs, SDKs available to you if you want to create your own application. And within those rich SDKs, you will also have the opportunity to move your wind farm into Unreal Engine, for instance, or a different game engine to be able to look at your wind farm as a digital twin and as good as visual presentation as possible. I could have said a lot more about the ArcGIS system, but the main focus is, of course, the data that Winsome are providing and using in their own application. So if you go to ArcGIS Living Atlas of the World, we'll look at it afterwards as well. But you will find that there's a lot of data, maps, and apps available to you. So this is a data collection that is hosted by ESRI. There's global data, and they make sure that the data that are within Living Atlas is kept up to date by using ETL tools, extract, transform, and load, that feeds the different services into Living Atlas on maybe even a nightly basis to make sure that those services that they are providing are always reliable. And one of the services that Winsome are using is the land use and land cover service. So since the land cover of the Earth changes rapidly, everything due to geology and cutting down trees and forestry, etc., we need to make sure that the data that we are using are also reliable. So Esri has used Sentinel-2 as input data, and on top of that, created an AI model to be able to classify the different imagery into different units. And we will have a look at that shortly. And the output is a 9-class map of the surface. And this is everything that they have done could easily be done by you as well, because those AI models that they have used are trained by Esri and then made available for the rest of the world. So if I quickly switch to the Living Atlas. Oops. How do I go full screen? Oh, okay, there we go. All right. So this is Living Atlas. Within Living Atlas, you have services that are free. You have services that are subscription-based, meaning that you will need an ArcGIS license. And then you have some services that are more premium. Those two services that I will be talking about, which is land use and terrain, those are subscription-based, meaning that you will only need a small ArcGIS license, which is very cheap. And if we just start by searching DLPK, you will find pre-trained models from Esri, deep learning packages that you can install and run on top of your own data sources. And one of them are the land cover classification. And that is, of course, what has been done in order to classify those satellite images. And here you can also read more about its accuracy, which is around 85 to 90%. And also, if you want to do any changes to the model, you can do that as well within the ArcGIS system. And here's just an application that Esri built so that we can easily see how much the cover of the Earth changes throughout the years. So the land cover classification or service is a service that they update on your annual basis. And as you can see, from 2017 to 2023, there's quite a lot of changes going on, in this case in Bolivia. So that was the land use, but Winsome are also looking at the terrain, of course, which is quite an important input when deciding where you could have a wind farm. So again, the World Elevation Terrain Service is provided by a lot of different services, as you can see on this slide. And it's quarterly updated with high resolution, and it allows for querying, identifying, and exporting images. And if we go into the elevation coverage map, which I saw was a question in the chat, we should be able to see what resolution we have on a worldwide basis. So the different resolution varies from 1 meter and down to 30. And then maybe in some areas, you can also have a coarser than 30, but most of the data goes from 30 and down to 1 meter or 2 to 6 meters, as you can see. So you have this coverage map, but you also have, if I'm able to go to this slide, a more detailed representation of the pixel size, the resolution of the raster data, and also in which country and region do you have the most or the best resolution varying. And on top of that, Esri also provides server-side functions on top of that terrain data set. So if you were to want to do any analysis on slope, maybe aspect, meaning that which direction does the terrain point to, you are also able to do so. And I think I covered mostly what I wanted to cover. I don't know if I should answer any questions in chat or how you would like to proceed.
Thank you, Tore. I think let's see if there are any questions from the people in the chat. Maybe Vincent, you've been able to have a look.
Yes. So I see there has been a couple of questions. I think some are related to the previous presentation from Gullek about the tree cover and forest modeling. Let me see. Yeah, I think most of them are related to the accelerator and the data input and output.
Okay.
So I can't see any specific. Yeah, sorry, please, Tore.
What I could add to both of the services is that if you were to know about any high resolution services in your area of interest that you would like to be a part of this ESTI service, you could reach out and ESTI would look into it and maybe implement it as well.
That was one of my questions. So how do we do that? Do we ask the people to come to us because we kind of work with you guys to make sure it's integrated with the accelerator? Do the people come to us and then we discuss how to do that with you?
Yes, I think that would be the best way forward, that you are the first contact, and from there we have our own contacts in ESTI and let them know about the service that they would like to be a part of this elevation service, for instance, and we should take it from there. Yeah.
Can you also talk a little bit about, what kind of data and how it's being updated? If I understand correctly, it's only publicly available data. And
yes.
how do you source this? How often is it being updated, etc.?
So when it comes to the terrain data set, that is updated on a quarterly basis. Of course, if there were to be any vast changes in the terrain data set, that they would probably do it manually, but the terrain does not necessarily vary that much. And when it comes to the land cover, that is done on an annually basis. And that's because they use the Sentinel-2 images and then run that through the AI software. So that's a quarterly and annually updated. And if your question was how do they get those data sets, that is mainly through the ESTI distributors around the globe. And those ESTI distributors know which data sets are available within each country. And that, of course, varies how much does each country want to deliver high resolution terrain due to their different policies. So it varies a lot. But again, I think if the audience have any input sources that they would like to be a part of this service, that we are very much eager to do so. One last thing, if it were to be any data that's very located or just in a certain area, then that would probably need to be added later on in maybe directly in the WinSim application and not on through the service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should mention that this is one of the questions, can I upload my own data or different data sets that are available through ArcGIS at the moment? I think the first thing, and I went through and had a check, I looked at the countries that all the participants are from on this call and, looked at all the users. There is available data sets everywhere, but of course the resolution varies a little bit depending on what is available locally. So I would recommend everybody to have a look at those links that we provided you earlier, so you can check this out. And then if this is not what you want, please do get in touch and we can have a discussion with ESRI, Geodata, what's possible. But we are also looking at the later stage to see, you know, how, if, and when can we upload ourselves additional data sets into WinSim Accelerator. So this is also on the agenda, just for information.
Yeah, I see we have one question in the chat from Utku Turkilmos. And yeah, he is asking, does Geodata ESRI get elevation models, open data from national land survey institutes? For example, Sweden Lantmäteriet seems to be missing. So he's asking a little bit about this specific data set.
Yes, so I don't know why it's not a part of the ESTI terrain model. We could ask ESTI why that is the case. What I could also mention is that Geodata, we have data services covering mostly Norway, but when it comes to terrain data sets, we also have that for Sweden. And I will take this and note it behind my ear and talk to ESTI about if that is something that they could add to their terrain model as well, or terrain service.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Vincent, from the chat?
Not that I can see.
Okay.
No, it seems that was the main one in terms of ESRI.
Okay, but Tore, thank you very much. It was informative. We are looking forward to starting using this. And I'm sure we'll get lots of questions from users and we will come back to you. But yeah, it's been a very good collaboration so far, and thank you also for being here today and sharing your expertise.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, Lil. So we have some questions, I think, that were for Gullek and his part of the presentation. So I'm not sure, should we take some of them?
Yeah, shall we do that now?
Yes. Can you read them?
Yes,
Or,
so we can, let me see. So it's quite a few here. So I will start at the top here. So it's Rafael who is asking, is it possible to customize the roughness and elevation data based on local knowledge when using the ESRI data?
Not in the current version we are building, but as another questions also as well, was it possible to see the data that the map module created? That is possible through the files, and then you can possibly edit them in some workaround way that we will have that we will aim to have a description for how to do it, but it's not possible in the current version.
Okay, thank you, Gullek. We have a few more, so we can jump to the next one. So Giorgio, he's asking if there is a limitation in the number of cells along the coordinates and vertical direction, similar to the big model version in the WinSim desktop.
Yes, that is the same as the big model in WinSim desktop.
Thank you. And then there was this question about if it's possible to load your own custom maps. So if you give a quick reply to that.
Yeah, not in the current version. That is possible through using the WinSim desktop terrain and terrain and uploading the project. But we will look at some ways to facilitate that in the future.
I will take one more. So I think that was actually in the Q&A. We won't take all the questions. I'll just pick a few, but all the questions will be answered in a printed version that we will share with all attendants at a later stage. Okay, so this one is from Carlos. So is there going to be a possibility to include forestry in the online terrain module? If so, how easy will it be to manage?
Yeah, that will not be a part of the first iteration, but it's one of the things we will add quickly. Is that there's a lot. Our beta testers also mentioned that the forest is needed. I read through the questions, and there was another question of using or expanding the forest model a bit with using the canopy heights and some other data sets for the forest. So the first version will be a copy of what is currently in Winsym Desktop, and we will look at improvements to that.
Thank you, Gullek. So I think we will conclude the questions there, and please continue.
Thank you. And I heard something about beta testers, and we are so lucky that we have one of them here today. I'm just going to find the right presentation back here so that we